The Palestinian American who was stabbed at an Austin rally is finally speaking out. And a Houston attorney receives his sentence after pleading guilty to an attempted abortion plot. A high school student in custody Wednesday, and we have the details of this arrest.
Well, it's going to continue warm and windy for us, a sprinkle or two possible, but the weekend rain is the one that's going to be rather interesting. We'll talk about that coming up in just a few minutes.
Governor Greg Abbott was in Victoria today showing his support for District 30 Republican candidate Jeff Bouknight. You're watching 25 News now at 5. Good afternoon and thanks for being with us. I'm Karina Garcia. Governor Greg Abbott was in Victoria today to support Jeff Bouknight for the District 30 House seat. 25 News Now weekend anchor Adam Seibel was there and has the details. Adam.
Yeah, so around 150 people showed up to attend the event today, all rallying to support Jeff Bouknight's bid for the District 30 House seat.
In my heart, will work with me, support me, fund me, and have my back when it comes to doing what you want to have done, and that is Jeff Bouknight will fight for you to secure our border.
Jeff Bouknight picked the endorsement of Governor Greg Abbott, fueling Bouknight's campaign for the District 30 House seat. The event took place Thursday at the Victoria College Emerging Technology Complex. Governor Abbott says he supports the former mayor of Victoria and believes he will fight alongside him in Austin on three main issues: securing the border, cutting property taxes, and supporting school choice.
Let me tell you what Jeff and I are going to do. Jeff and I are going to go work together in Austin, Texas for you, and we are going to build a conservative bulwark where we protect your freedoms and the opportunity that's known only in the Lone Star State.
Bouknight is also endorsed by District 30 State Representative Jeannie Morrison. She's on her 13th term in the legislature. Morrison says Bouknight helped Victoria through Hurricane Harvey, during which time he was on the city council.
City councilman that stepped up to the plate was Jeff Bouknight, and we worked with the governor's office with him to make sure that we got what we needed.
Goliad County Sheriff Roy Boyd also showed his support for Bouknight. He says Bouknight has shown his willingness to fight to secure the border.
Jeff Bouknight is the only candidate for House District 30 that I know that I can count on.
Bouknight highlighted he would continue to fight for what he called South Texas conservative values. He says he would work with Governor Abbott to fund Operation Lone Star and support school choice.
Continue in Austin fighting against this silly, unbelievable woke agenda. I look forward to January when I get sworn in. Yeah. Being able to be beside this phenomenal, I've said it before, warrior for Texas.
Bouknight will face off against three opponents in the March 5th primary. Early voting begins February 20th, ending on March 1st. Reporting in Victoria, Adam Seibel, KAVU TV 25 News Now.
Also in the March 5th election is the race for Victoria County Sheriff. Incumbent Sheriff Justin Marr is once again on the ballot for a second term. Marr says he plans to keep the promises made many years ago and says he will continue to build trust between the sheriff's office and the community.
Promises made, promises kept. I'm here for you. Victoria is my home. I've been with the sheriff's office for almost 26 years. This is my home, this community is my home, and I'm here to protect it.
Also running for the Victoria County Sheriff position in the Republican primary is Melissa Rendon-Wasachek. She has 28 years experience in law enforcement. Early voting begins on February 20th and ends on March 1st. Election day is Tuesday, March 5th. Wednesday night, Wharton police arrested Wynard Austin on 7 felony warrants. Shortly after Austin escaped from custody in handcuffs, Austin remains at large, last seen wearing a black hoodie, blue jeans, and white shoes. If you see him, contact 911. Wharton police say Austin is not a threat to public safety. Now, a 19-year-old suspect was taken into custody by Victoria County Sheriff deputies. Devon Morales is charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. He is in the Victoria County Jail in lieu of a $40,000 bond. In Austin, police determined the stabbing of a 23-year-old Palestinian American at a rally meets the definition of a hate crime. The victim spoke out, agreeing with police that the stabbing was motivated by hate. The man says the suspect approached his vehicle at the rally and stabbed him on the left side of his back. He believes politicians, including Governor Greg Abbott and President Joe Biden, should call for a ceasefire. The suspect's public defender was reached for comment, but he declined. And now let's shift gears and take a look at your forecast with Chief Meteorologist Mac Perez.
Thank you very much, Karina. Good afternoon, everybody. A little warm and windy. People were complaining, hey, slow down the wind. My hair is getting out of yeah, well, it's going to be like that for a couple more days. But then, of course, the weekend rain is the big question mark, and we'll be talking about that, trying to time it out for everybody's weekend. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with more on weather coming up in a moment.
Mac, thank you. A Houston attorney will spend 180 days in jail after pleading guilty to injury to a child and assault of a pregnant person. Those charges were downgraded as part of a plea deal. Prosecutors say Mason Herring secretly drugged his wife's drink multiple times while she was pregnant to induce an abortion. Along with jail time, the 39-year-old will have 10 years of probation. He's also expected to lose his law license. His soon-to-be ex-wife says the sentence isn't enough.
I do not believe that 180 days is justice for attempting to kill your child 7 separate times.
Herring was the first person in Harris County to be charged with felony assault to induce an abortion. The charge was withdrawn as part of the plea deal. Now, a teenager taken into custody at his high school is now facing murder charges. On Wednesday, the 18-year-old was arrested for his involvement in the fatal shooting of a father and son back in 2023.
18-year-old Joshua Castro muttering the words, "I'm not a murderer," as he's taken into the back of a police vehicle Wednesday afternoon. Moments before, he was in class at Chavez Excel Academy. That's until he got a visit from the U.S. Marshals and NISD officers.
And he's being arrested on capital murder.
Police say the murder happened on December 6 at the Valero gas station off Petranco Road. According to the arrest affidavit, the suspects met up with the victim for a gun sale. But evidence recovered from social media allegedly shows Castro and the other suspect, 18-year-old Sebastian Toledo, were never planning on paying for the gun. The affidavit states Toledo told others he was going to, quote, hit a lick on someone who was selling him a Glock 26.
He was corroborating with that suspect who died on Monday to rob these victims for their firearm, in which that firearm was found to be in the possession of one of the suspects via their social media as well.
At some point during the meetup, shots are fired. The gas station surveillance video capturing the entire incident.
So it was a full-on gunfight there.
34-year-old Raymond Ancira and 15-year-old Raymond Ancira Jr. were killed. This obituary online from the funeral home shows the father and son.
Legal filings indicate the two suspects went through the victim's vehicle before fleeing the scene. Now, a report by the DOJ says President Biden willfully kept and disclosed highly classified materials when he was a private citizen, including details about military and foreign policy in Afghanistan and other sensitive material. And he will not face any criminal charges. However, the report released today shows a critical assessment of Biden's handling of sensitive government materials, as well as reasons why he will not be charged with the crime. The details of that report are still pending. Come to crossroadstoday.com to predict the big game, answer a series of questions on how you think the game will go, and 3 lucky players will win a $50 gift card to Dick's Food Store. The deadline to participate in the big game prediction is Saturday, February 10th at 5 p.m. We will announce the winners on sunrise Tuesday morning, and the winners will receive either a call or an email. Good luck. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click that notification bell. Stay with us. We have an update on the 5 Marines who went missing after a helicopter went down in California. That's straight ahead on 25 News Now at 5. Also ahead, the High Court hears arguments on former President Donald Trump's eligibility for the ballot in the presidential election. Marines are confirmed dead after their helicopter went down during a training mission in California. The military says the remains and the wreckage were not yet recovered, and attempts to access the crash site remain impacted by snow and high winds. On Wednesday, the helicopter was found near Pine Valley, a mountain area of East San Diego. The cause of the crash is currently under investigation. Wednesday, the U.S. Supreme Court heard arguments on whether Donald Trump should be on the 2024 Republican ballot in Colorado. Two states have determined Trump should be pulled from their ballots based on the Constitution's 14th Amendment, which says public officials who have engaged in insurrection are disqualified from holding public office again. The state's decision are based on Trump's alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election and the January 6th insurrection.
We are only here because Donald Trump decided to engage in insurrection instead of accepting his loss. We are only here because there's an unprecedented situation. A president who decided that he would steal the presidency from the American people. I don't believe that the president is a get-out-of-jail-free card, and I hope the justices hold him accountable.
Colorado and Maine's decisions are paused on appeal. Several other key states also attempted to block Trump from the ballot, but those fell flat. In health news, Toby Keith's death is shining light on stomach cancer. There's no recommended routine screening for this type of cancer, but there are signs.
At 62 years old, Toby Keith died of stomach cancer. In the U.S., the disease is relatively uncommon.
It's about 26,000 or so diagnoses per year, about 10,000 or so deaths.
Because of that, there's no routine screening recommended by any major health organization for those at average risk for the disease. The American Cancer Society says early-stage stomach cancer rarely causes symptoms. Therefore, the disease is most often found after it's grown larger or spread outside the stomach. Signs and symptoms include poor appetite, unexplained weight loss, stomach pain or discomfort, feeling full after a small meal, and heartburn or indigestion. See a doctor if these symptoms don't go away or worsen.
What is one of the most common causes of stomach cancer, what people don't realize, is actually an infection, a chronic infection from something we call Helicobacter pylori or H. pylori, which leads to sort of a low chronic gastritis.
Research is looking into more effective ways to treat that infection to lower chances of developing stomach cancer. Like most diseases, you can reduce risk by having a healthy body weight and diet, staying active, not smoking, and avoiding or limiting alcohol. But some risk factors like family or personal health history can't be avoided. If that includes you
should really talk to your physician about whether screening makes sense for you at an earlier stage.
For Health Minute, I'm Andy Gaither.
Congress is calling on the FAA to change how it addresses pilot mental health. This comes after an incident in October when an off-duty Alaska Airlines pilot had an in-flight breakdown. Pilots who say they have mental problems during mandatory physicals could lose the ability to fly. On Tuesday, the FAA administrator testified before the House Aviation Subcommittee that it's time for the department to update its approach to mental health. Well, and now here is Mac with your weather.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. A little bit of cloud cover out there and a lot of wind. We were up to 37 miles an hour this afternoon. So that's kind of the way it's going to stay Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. But the big weekend rain, how much is it going to be here? Well, that's what we're going to talk about tonight. First of all, your temperature right now, 72. We got up into the mid 70s today. We got up to 75, and we're going to be right about there for probably the weekend. We're going to talk more about your weekend weather coming up in just a moment. Well, good afternoon to everybody. Quite a bit of cloud cover rolling over Texas, and you can see we've got actually getting it from two directions. First of all, this is the old storm that was out on the west coast. You can see how that deck of tropical clouds comes over Mexico and into Texas. And then, of course, with that strong south wind, we're getting the activity coming in off the Gulf. Now, we had a few sprinkles out there. Pardon me, I wouldn't call it shower activity, but it is what it is, and it was a little on the damp side. Now, out on the western states, here is the secondary system that is producing a lot of weather, or more snow and rain for that portions of the country that will eventually affect our area as well. Tonight, we get down into the mid-60s again, no major problems, and then getting up to about 75 tomorrow on the warm, cloudy, windy side. Let me show you a future tracker. We start off on your Thursday. We go forward in time, and you can see that on Friday we're still cloudy, we're still getting that south wind, okay? There are some sprinkles to the northeast of us, but I don't expect much to happen around here. However, as we get to Friday night, you start watching out to the west. Oh, what is that? Well, that is the secondary system that's going to finally get into Texas and push all this through. Basically, frontal system number one is stalling. Second one is actually going to push it through. So this is when it gets interesting, but of course we're down here, not exactly in the middle of it. We're likely to get some shower activity late on Saturday and on into Sunday. Then the north wind kicks in, and we're, shall we say, and there's how we know it's a north wind. They're going to get some snow up in Amarillo. We're not going to get any of that. Don't get excited. But then it all blows away. Now here's again, the frontal system is number one. Because it's separated from the low, it's really stalling out and slowing down. Here's the second system. The second system is going to come through the panhandle and then really kick up the rain and the precipitation. Now, this is important if you're driving northbound. That would be Saturday and Sunday. But by Sunday afternoon, it all blows away. High pressure does build in. And for the early part of the week, we'll get some quiet weather, but the 7 days rather interesting. Tomorrow morning, 69 in Port Lavaca, getting up to a 75 again. Mostly cloudy for those of you in Cuero, getting up to 74, 75 again. Generally cloudy skies. But here's the 7 day, and I'll tell you why it's interesting. So it's mild and muggy here, 20% on Friday, no biggie. Saturday, a little bit better shot, especially Saturday night. That's when the front starts moving through. Sunday morning, we'll get a good possibility of some showers. So kind of a damp weekend. Not severe, just scattered little garden variety showers. Then it does clear up Sunday night when we do get that north wind, and Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday are looking okay. But then what is that over there? Well, the next storm system comes from the southwest, arrives on Friday of next week. So I'm going, wait a minute, it's going to rain this weekend and next weekend? It looks like it at this point in time, so we'll certainly be watching it for you. That's your 7 day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code that will scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. Here's Karina.
Thank you, Matt. Coming up next on 25 News Now at 5, we're going to take a look at your stocks. Plus, a federal agency is putting a ban on robocalls that use AI. Taking a look at the stocks, the Dow up 21 points, the S&P 500 up 1 point, and the Nasdaq up 28 points. Oil up $2.36, closing at $76.22 a barrel. The FCC outlawed scam robocalls featuring fake AI-created voices in a crackdown on deepfake technology during this upcoming election. The unanimous vote extends anti-robocall rules to cover an AI deepfake calls. This decision came weeks after a fake robocall impersonating President Biden targeted voters in New Hampshire. 3 CEOs representing Big Pharma are on Capitol Hill today to testify over high drug prices in the U.S. Several lawmakers questioned the 3 men over their prices for drugs like Johnson & Johnson's arthritis drug. In 4 other countries, the drug is priced at $20,000 or less for 1 year. But in the U.S., it's priced at $79,000. The CEO for Johnson & Johnson says that U.S. patients receive therapy in addition to the drugs rather than in other countries. This pricing debate will continue, so for now, many Americans will struggle to afford the medicine they need. And stay with us. We're going to take one last look at your forecast. Plus, we have another update on Connie, a rumor that turned out to be false. Plus, here's a look at world news tonight, right after 25 News Now at 5.
Tonight, is former President Trump eligible to run again? The Supreme Court hears the case. Plus, tracking the powerful storm on the move. More Americans turn to the most watched newscast on television. World News Tonight with David Muir.
national headlines this week after she was found trapped inside a shipping container at the port of Houston. We all know the story, and she's now in care of animal rescue team in Virginia. A pilot traveled to the shelter she was staying at to pick up the dog and take her to Virginia. That's when the vets discovered something new. A rumor where she likely lost her puppies turned out to be false. She's actually expecting puppies. Connie will begin receiving heartworm treatments before she finds her forever home. So the girl is pregnant. The girl is a mother-to-be.
Poor baby. She went through all of that, and now she's getting a free ride on the airplane, but she's got a new home. And
she's got a new home, and her kids are going to have good homes too. So
I think we're going to have to follow the story of Connie.
We're going to. It's national now.
We're going to keep you in touch with Connie. Well, folks, the cloudy, windy stuff is going to continue through the weekend. As we get to Saturday, well, even Friday night, a sprinkle or two is possible. But Saturday night and Sunday morning is when I believe, very similar to last weekend, that we'll get the shower activity. Again, this is not expected to be severe or serious, but it will be wet. And then we finally clear up Monday, Tuesday, nice and cool. I say cooler because it'll be about 60 to 62. Wow, almost February-like. And then the irony of it all is next Friday is the next storm with rain next weekend. So I hope you're not mad at me about that.
But this weekend,
by and large, it's going to be on the damp side.
Okay.
You can't call it a clear and blue weekend. But it's, shall we say, not severe weather, which is the most important part. So no thunder, lightning, just a little bit of light rain. And next weekend, a little bit of light rain.
All righty. Well, thank you, Mac. And thank you for being with us. We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 6. World News Tonight with David Muir is up next.